I think it's. I mean, I think I like the project because it just asks people point blank their opinion. And if you ask, I'm not trying to represent anything but myself right now.
Dang!
You know, you got some people that be trying to represent everybody all the time, but to me, the questions were very, it was focused. They asked what they needed to know. I hope we gave them some good information.
I can't believe they asked that question.
What question? The bitch question?
I just can't believe it. I'm stuck on all of it.
Why?
I just can't believe it. Dang. I can't believe it.
I like people to just ask questions for what they really want to know. Don't assume. Ask, because you never know. That's way over in the Netherlands.
Are you really going to ask that?
Yeah. Why not? If I want to know, I'm going to ask, right?
Do you think that terms like main bitch and side bitch, which are often used in hip-hop videos, changes or let's say makes men of other ethnicities view women of color differently?
Okay, so those are the first times that I've ever heard those words. I think that it's not necessarily a good thing because I feel like people can interpret it in a negative light.
Okay, when terms like main bitch and side bitch, I believe they're just terms that we use. There have always been main bitches and side bitches, but people don't call them main bitches and side bitches. They're wives and they're mistresses or concubines or something like that, we just make it sound better, you could say. I don't believe that it has, well, it could have a negative effect on how people look at African American women, but at the same time, I really don't believe that it does because not every woman is a bitch. Not every woman is a hoe. Asian men, white men, they all say the same thing. They all call their, some of them, I guess, say bitches and hoes and all that stuff. But I believe that people understand that not all women are bitches and hoes. There are some that are bitches and hoes, but not everybody is.
Yeah, and I just think a culture that glorifies having multiple women by you is not necessarily a good thing because then you're giving the representation that one person may not be fully important to you, and then it's also bringing in differences or discussions, issues rising about love and relationships, friendships, things that we really value.
When someone if I'm in a relationship with a man and he said I'm his main bitch, I have a problem with that. First of all, I'm not a female dog,
right?
And I think that it says a lot about how that person feels about me,
right,
in the relationship. And I don't want to be a side chick. I believe that if you're in a relationship, you either with that one person or you're not. Period.
And I think we have to put labels on what we're doing. So people are participating in certain behaviors, and this is just the language that they use to characterize that. Now, in the Netherlands, it may be called something else, but the actual function is the same. Your main girl is just that. That's the one you show respect to. You call her a bitch if that's what you do, if that's what she do.
But don't you think that's kind of disrespectful to call somebody your main bitch or she's my bitch?
Well, I think that most men use the word bitch to signify that, one, she ain't just with me. She ain't just sleeping with me. She's still free.
The nature of art is deconstructive, and many artists often have to bare their soul in order to create that perfect lick or hook. That being said, there are few, if any, gay rappers that have managed to captivate an audience time after time with the truth behind their words. When do you think we will see the first big-time gay rapper? Will they be American, from Holland, or from somewhere else?
Big gay rapper will be from the UK. And not from Amsterdam, not from the United States, because, I don't know, it's just a feeling I get. The UK is more, I think the UK is more open-minded. So, yes.
Towards hip-hop and gay lesbians representatives in the hip-hop community, I think it's diverse, just like the average dominant culture in America. Gay and lesbians is a little bit more to the background, but in the artistic community more gays and lesbians are active and you can see them. So for the hip hop scene, I think it will be the same. I think there are groups, let's say in a big city, when there is a big conscious community of hip hoppers, they have their scene of spoken word and rap events and theater. There will be gay and lesbian rappers, but in the mainstream dominant commercial scene, it will be smaller, and I think that kind of dividends will be there the same as in the broader society.
How does poetry relate to the hip hop culture in your opinion?
So poetry starts off with the griots in Africa, which is these oral keepers of history, and that's kind of where poetry and spoken word, that's their launching pad. And so throughout history, what you find now is that poets now, they'll tell you a story, tell you a narrative. And if you actually could collect all of the narratives of all of the poets, you would really have a picture of the history of the United States. Where hip-hop began, hip-hop was much the same thing. It was just that to a very driving beat. You listen to The Message by Grandmaster Flash, and that's just telling you a story of the impoverished, done over a beat with some bravado and some style. So hip-hop and poetry were very much alike in this way early on. As time has moved on, commercial hip-hop is not that. Commercial hip-hop now sells you a ton of fantasy, a lot of what is not true. Like, these men are not selling these drugs, they're not driving these cars, they're not. Who has time to sleep with that many women? They're not doing it. It's just not true.
Poetry and hip hop is one and the same. When I was in class in school, I would write poems, but at the same time, they're raps. All I need is a beat behind them, and it sounds good, So pretty much I believe that they're one and the same. You can't have one without the other. Rap came from poetry, pretty much. So all people added was a little drums behind it. So I believe they're one and the same. As far as people doing more poetry, I believe that the music is poetry. It may not be the Langston Hughes or the Maya Angelou's, but it's our story. It's the story that we have.
It's just universal. What I want to know, do you find that hip hop are the teens in Netherlands more enthusiasm about hip hop, or do you think that our teens do you think our teens respect hip hop more?
I don't think people in the Netherlands value the hip hop culture as in the States. Why? Because hip hop isn't like a lifestyle here. It's more a brand, and it's more like a thing you just do and follow through media. So
So in the 90s, when the Dutch rap scene begins to start well, they created their own style, their own lyrics, their own way of wearing clothes. What they did is, or didn't accept, is they looked to the big American artists and they changed the lyrics for commercial things, just only thinking about big booties, cars, bitches, fame, money, and selling your body to the devil. And that's the worst thing and the worst mistake that they did. And now the rappers are like creators and characters for commercial things. So yeah, that's the answer.
do you think the hip hop culture has a positive effect on the diversity and integration around?
Do I think that hip hop has a positive influence on integration around the world? I think that hip hop actually brings people together in very interesting ways. That it may not bring people together around the most positive of imagery, but when you look at hip hop, whether it be b-boying or graffiti or the actual 5 elements of hip hop, you'll find people doing this in Japan, in the Netherlands, in the UK. There are people rapping and doing graffiti and doing breakdancing everywhere. So it has definitely moved across cultures and brought people together.
Hip hop is culture, So I do think that people are attracted to different cultures, and if you have certain things like arts, entertainment, and poetry and things like that, that a lot of people understand and enjoy, yes, it's going to bring you to the table to talk about various things and various issues centered around hip-hop. Regardless of color, class, and things like that, art has the way of bringing people together in a way to enjoy something, and then you may get to talk about other things.
Yes, I believe hip hop has a positive influence around the world. It's a form of dance, and I think any form of dance can bring cultures together and get people to interact.
Hip hop helps to work towards integration in the United States. I think that it also, here in the United States, it does very much so also. Because, as I was stating earlier, with b-boying, you go to the crews here in Atlanta, and the crews, one of the main hip hop crews, it's black, it's white, it's Asian, it is young, like they're small children, so it's moving between age ranges and ethnicities. When you're dealing with breakdancing, the same thing with graffiti. If you hit the cross street tunnel on any given day, the guys tagging that tunnel, they're black, they're white, they're Asian, they're everything. And I was wondering if the words, the images used in mainstream hip hop in any way color the thoughts and the perception of African Americans in the minds and the eyes of Dutch people.
So when I watch the video clips from the big artists in America, and I see the woman dressed almost naked and the men are like acting as a pimp, I think that's a way of life. And I think a lot of American people, when they watch the video clips, I think that's a kind of wish that they want so much money, so much cars and the big houses. So that's my answer to this question.
No, no, not at all. To me, that's really a make-believe world. And I've been to New York once, and the brothers were okay, but they were not as pumped up and tattooed all over like the ones you see in the videos, which was a little disappointing though, but okay. But no, really, that's, I do think that a lot of youths, Dutch youth, do think that that's how Americans live, or black Americans, because what you see in the hip-hop videos is a lot of blowing money fast, partying, naked women, big booty women, and cars, big houses, and that's kind of an image, and I really do think that a lot of youth don't know that.
For me, it reflects power in society, and I'm really waiting for the moment that people stand up against this bullshit. I think that, for instance, the Afro-American community is still not done in standing up and rising up against this kind of oppression. It's a continuing story, and I'm hoping things will change. Keep on going.
First you had Lauryn Hill starting the female rap thing. Now in these days you have the female big booty queen rappers. How do you feel about that?
Alright. Well, the question that was posed, I figure, was the image of women in hip-hop and urban culture between the era of like the Lauryn Hill toward today's image of women. I think the difference in it is women had a lot more value back then. You're coming out of the era of your Patti LaBelle's, the singers that were upheld as like queens of their field. So when hip-hop trickled into it, you had your Salt and Peppers, you had things like that, but it still had a standard that they were going by. And the standard in the urban community at that point had a higher value to women. Nowadays, I think the difference is women are oversexed, men are oversexed. So you have these images where the stripper has almost become the predominant job for urban people, for urban women. Little girls want to be strippers. They no longer want to be Claire Huxtable. They want to be the girl on the pole. So everything that happens in our society as a whole reflects in our music. And you see it on the screen now. You see girls that are rapping in thongs as opposed to jeans. They don't care about the talent. They care about the body form. They're going to doctors. They're getting augmented. They're getting stuff with this, sucked out of this, and, made into these so-called perfect images when that's not really true to life and true to form. So that would be my take on it. my question for the folks in Amsterdam. What is, let me think, what genre of American hip-hop music do you guys really relate to?
The lynch mob, it's a macabre, but you know you need this. And the knowledge is going just like a fetus or a tumor. Well, here's the rumor: Dre's in the neighborhood and he's up to no good. When I start expressing myself, yell and slam me. Cause if I stay funky like this, I'm doing damage. Or I'ma be